Nolinor Aviation has been the first airline to be fully certified by Transport Canada. You have to delegate and you have to trust the people you have in your team.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mining Now. I'm your host, Jerrod Downey. Today, we have, for me personally, a long-awaited return guest. We have Marco Prud'homme on the show. He is the president of Nolinor Aviation. If you're new to the show, they may be new to you as well. But for anybody who's watched the show, last episode, we talked about planes landing on runways, building a private aviation company, growing an aviation company, regulations. There was just so much packed into that first episode. And now in the second one, we're going to be talking about new partnerships, new aircraft that they're bringing online, growing the company even more since last time they were on. So much to cover. So very excited to have Marco back to the show. Marco, welcome to Mining Now.
Thank you for the invite, and I'm happy to be here for a second time.
There's so much to cover today because you've got announcements to make, locations, partnerships. It's a lot to pack into this episode, but we're going to make it happen. So, but before we do, because obviously there's new audiences that we've built up over since the last time you came on the show, could you just give us just a little bit of background on yourself and on Nolinor?
All right. Well, my name is Marco. I'm the president of Nolinor Aviation. Nolinor Aviation is an airline that is specialized in charter flights, and our core market is the mining industry. So we do daily flights for many mining projects, bringing employees, cargo, food, equipment, and we've been doing that for the last 33 years. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much what we're about.
Did you found the company?
No, the company was created in 1992, and way back it was to answer a specific need for the region of Shefferville up north in Quebec. And we came in the company in 1999 to manage the company, and we've grown it from a team of 25 employees up to 325 today. So
there's so much I want to get into, but I just got to ask a quick question because our company is always trying to grow too. So what has been the biggest challenge in growing the company, especially in your space, which does have some competition?
I guess the biggest challenge for any company is to trust your employees. You know, you have to give them more liberty and give them the chance to experience stuff and learn from it, make mistakes, and that's how you grow. If you try to micromanage everyone, then there's only 24 hours per day, so that's an issue. So if you want to grow, you need to find ways to delegate stuff and make it happen. So
someone said the very similar answer, but then what he did is he added on that you have to he was very, like, he had a lot of technical expertise, so part of his thing was he had to learn to be okay with something not being done exactly how he would do it.
That's part of it. Yeah, you have to learn to let go, meaning that it won't be done like 99% of how you would like have to be done if you did it yourself. But at the end of the day, you cannot do everything. So yeah, you have to delegate and you have to trust the people you have in your team.
It's very interesting how many people have asked, and that is probably one of the top 3 answers. So it's one of those things that it's clearly true for people that have success. Okay, you were from the last time we did the interview, you were in a new location, so I want to get right into that. Let's start with that first piece of news. Where are you located right now for this interview?
Yeah, well, today I'm here in Edmonton. We came to Edmonton about a year ago. One of the mining project wanted to do the tryout with us, so we started doing 1 flight per week for them. And after a while, they decided to go on bid. We joined a partnership with a local partner in Cambridge Bay called Kilac Innovation. And we were lucky enough to be chosen by that mining project. And since then, we've been flying 5 days a week. And about a couple of months ago, the space that we were leasing was up for sale. And we had the opportunity to make an offer. And we decided to purchase a facility. So not only do we have space for our operation, we have also space to grow. Mm-hmm. And so I'm here today in the hangar facility where we do the maintenance, heavy maintenance of the fleet. And we also have a terminal to do departures and also office space for our customer and also for our team. So, yeah.
Let's talk about our heavy industry world tour brought to you by Savona Equipment. Find, market, and sell surplus and used equipment. And Corporate Traveler Canada, helping companies travel the globe simpler, faster, easier. We are heading to events across North America and Australia and filming episodes on location. Email us at info@crownsman.com to be part of Crownsman's Heavy Industry World Tour. Orica Digital Solutions seamlessly connects customers' physical and digital worlds so they can readily understand and optimize operations at every step of the value chain, from exploration to processing. Blast IQ Underground provides quality control and improved underground drill and blast productivity for superior blast outcomes. With the ability to view design, loading, and initiation documents in a central location, Blast IQ provides easy access to historical and key performance indicators that drive continuous improvements, enhance productivity, and reduce the overall cost of operations. To learn more about Blast IQ Underground and how it can support your operations, visit orica.com/Blast IQ Underground. CIM is Canada's leading technical institute dedicated to the sustainability of our industry. Members enjoy professional growth opportunities through CIM libraries, publications, webinars, societies, and the job board. Experience the CIM community firsthand at the Conference of Metallurgists, August 19th to 22nd, ICARD, September 16th to 20th, and the CIM Health and Safety Conference, October 6th to 8th. Visit CIM.org for more information and join CIM today.
I know it seems like an obvious question, but usually there's some details that can be unpacked. So in terms of growth, what does this sort of position you to be able to do over the next several years?
Well, from the installation where we are today, we could easily add 1 or 2 more aircraft here in Edmonton.
Wow.
After that, we would need to find other space. But for the moment, I guess we could easily say that for the next 5 years, that's going to be enough for us. And actually, right now, we're already starting thinking about 2026 and the opportunity of bringing a second plane to Edmonton, and that would be nice for the local operation for sure.
You mentioned office space. Does location change much in terms of private aviation when you are booking, when you're facilitating the service, or is a central hub just as good as an on location, like in a place like Edmonton?
Well, the fun about Edmonton is that, first of all, since we have a stable operation over here, we can hire local folks. So instead of having people from Montreal flying all the way down to Edmonton for a couple of weeks and then going back, we started hiring people from Edmonton. So many of the pilots are from the area. Same thing for the maintenance staff and also for the ramp staff. So we're able to build a team that is as the DNA of Edmonton and then knows the local ways and keep the core value of Nolinor Aviation. And so far, the first few months have been great so far. So.
Do you, when you're expanding like this, is that it sort of sounds like you got a contract, then you took up the space, then the space comes for sale. It sounds like you're sort of building on the customer demand, which is a very strong strategy, as opposed to sort of going out and finding the growth. Is that a fair assessment of how you chose this location?
Yeah, it's been our strategy of growth for the last 20 years. So basically, we grow with our customers. So depending on what our customer needs, the type of aircraft they need, the type of schedule they need, that's how we purchase aircraft. So, for example, we know that next year there's at least 1 or 2 contract coming up for bid that we don't have right now in our portfolio. So we acquire another 200 this year, and we are putting back another 200 back on the ramp that we removed at the beginning of the pandemic. So you have to plan in advance, but you cannot you cannot. I don't like to play the casino, so we just don't purchase aircraft for the fun of buying them. We like to talk with our customer and know where they're going. So
right, yeah. Well, let's dive into it. You've got a new aircraft, so let's talk. Right. Do you have 1 new aircraft or 2?
Actually, we purchased 1 200 this year. The other aircraft are aircraft that we used to be on operation that we removed at the beginning of the pandemic because demand was going down. And so we are bringing those aircraft back on the fleet. That takes a lot of time. To give you an example, it's about per aircraft an investment about 3 million because there's a lot of inspection that have to be done. Engines have to go to the overall. So bringing back an aircraft on the fleet, it takes between 4 to 6 months. So it's a very
Really?
time-consuming decision for sure. Yeah.
Sorry, did you say it takes 2 to 3 million to bring it back online?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So the aircraft.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. The one that we're bringing back right now has been removed for at least 5 years. So you can imagine in 5 years, an aircraft being on a ramp, there's some corrosion that needs to be fixed. The engine has to be overhauled. The interior has to be redone, and for sure, there's other avionics that we need to check and inspect. So it's a very costly and long project. But once the aircraft is back online, it's fairly available for customers.
So sorry, I just wanted to clarify. So you got the 737-200, and then you did you say I just missed it. There's another. Is there another? Are there two planes or just one? So I just missed it. There are two planes.
Yeah, I could get confused at what time. So 200 we purchased from the outside the company. It's an aircraft from another carrier that decided to sell those aircraft.
Oh, okay.
So we purchased one, and the other one, the second one, was already part of our portfolio, but it had been removed from the fleet 5 years ago, and then we're putting it back online. So.
As heavy machinery specialists for mining, SMS Equipment knows performance, like the performance they achieve together in a partnership dedicated to the success of their mining customers. At SMS Equipment, they're more than machines from trusted brands. They're the people beside you today and every day, bringing industry-leading technology and expertise to your mining operation. Because the right partnership makes everything possible. SMS Equipment, partners in your possibilities. Discover what's possible at smsequipment.com. Who is Savannah Equipment? Savannah Equipment Limited is a buyer and seller of new, used, and refurbished industrial equipment with a focus on mining and construction. They find, market, and sell surplus and used equipment. Does the equipment need work? They can refurbish. Is there something you can't find? They source those hard-to-find items. Selling equipment? They buy, consign, and broker equipment and asset packages. Need equipment moved? Savannah Equipment manages logistics for worldwide delivery. Surface and underground ore processing, concentrating, and refining plants and equipment, power generation and electrical, pump, material handling, alluvial placer gold mining, recycling, and much more. If you need to buy, sell, find, refurbish, or move equipment, you need Savannah Equipment. Savannah Equipment, more equipment every day. Visit them at savannahEquipment.com. Effortless Corporate Traveler Management is here with Corporate Traveler Canada. Boost your business with trusted expert solutions that save time, money, and enhance the traveler experience. Trusted by thousands of companies worldwide. Book and track your travels on your phone or let your dedicated consultant handle it for you. Enjoy 24/7 support and live chat from any time zone and get real-time travel alerts anywhere you go. Your next business trip just got easier. Learn more about Corporate Traveler Canada at corporatetraveler.ca.
I'm actually curious about. I mean, obviously, there's been a few mishaps, to say the least, with some recent aviation. So it's sort of front of mind with people. And I was actually curious because I don't get to talk to someone in the industry every day. What is the maintenance inspection? Like, what is the actual process? Because we're all getting on planes. We have no idea what's actually happening to get these off the ground. I didn't know it cost 2 or 3 million. Like, if a plane sits there for 2 or 3 years, is it automatically now you have to spend $1 million?
It depends on the type of aircraft, meaning that if an aircraft has been sitting down for a while, then obviously there's a major inspection that must be done on it. And so when you do all those test cards, you will come up to parts of the engine that needs to be refurbished or parts that needs to be changed. And all these adds up to a fairly big bill at the end of the project. So there's a lot of maintenance that's being done on the aircraft. Give you an example. For each hour of flying that we are doing, we do on average about 20 hours of maintenance on each aircraft. So, and that's the average. So imagine if you had if you were to go on a trip for an hour with your car, coming back home, and you had a mechanic that had to work on your car for 20 minutes, for 20 hours, that could be quite expensive as a process, Yeah.
So what is the advantages of these two planes? What are they sort of bringing to the market for you? In a way, I guess bringing back to the market since pre-COVID.
That's a good question. So the 200 is basically the Swiss knife. There's many configuration on the aircraft, up to 8 different configuration. And if you want to fly up north, you have different option. You can take a turboprop. We used to have a turboprop many years ago, but those aircraft, when the destination is far away, when it's a remote area, it takes a long time to fly a turboprop all the way down there. So a jet aircraft is fairly faster. If you're flying a jet up north, normally a jet aircraft needs to land on a paved runway. And the only type of aircraft that is certified by Boeing to land on a non-paved runway are the 737-200. So that's why we have many 200s on the fleet. It gives us a chance to land on unpaved runways. And I would say that most of the mining project up north comes with a unpaved runway because there's no roads to go there. There's no train, and the only way to get in and out of those destinations is by aircraft. So,
And these are not just for people that don't know. These are not that small of planes. Like I was looking at some of
oh
their specs, and I would, if you want to go through them, I would love to because their payload is it's actually fairly large.
yeah, so 737-200 can go up to 119 passenger. I would say that most mining project will ask us to do a Combi configuration, meaning that part of the aircraft is cargo, the other part is the cabin for a passenger. And those configurations change from flight to another, meaning the could be a bigger load of cargo or a smaller load. So for us, we need a team for what we have here in Edmonton also is that a team that is capable of changing the configuration fairly quickly within 3 hours so that we're ready for the following day.
You can do that change in 3 hours.
Yeah.
So you're basically just you're taking out seats and turning it into a cargo.
Yeah, so most 737-200 come with a big cargo door on the side, so it makes it easier to remove seats, so we don't have to go into a narrow doorway. And yeah, we're capable of doing that. It takes between 4 to 5 people to do the change of configuration. So
When you bring something like this online, well, I mean two planes online. So is this the same thing? Are you following the customer? Like you already have one that's going to be going to service right away, so that you go, okay, well, we're going to need another one available for the next call. Like, how do you approach it? Because you're talking $2-3 million per plane investment just to get it out the air.
So all the aircraft that we have on the fleet will change from one contract to another. So for the customer, it doesn't really show, meaning that they are flying on a 200, and if we have a major inspection coming on an aircraft, we'll supply another one to them. So they won't see the difference. But the overall number of aircraft that we have on the fleet needs to keep growing, because if we're adding a new customer, then we'll have to be able to supply aircraft with that contract also. So that's how it works. So for example, right here in Edmonton, the aircraft that we have has been here for about a year now, but every time it comes into an inspection, then we are sending another aircraft to replace,
Right.
so that we're able to continue the service without any downtime.
Right, because you got that 20 hours of service per hour, you said, right? So you essentially need, if it's a consistent weekly contract, you pretty much need two planes for that job.
That's right. And it's important to know that in between major inspection on aircraft, there's also smaller inspection. So it could be a monthly, it could be every 3 months. There are different sections of the aircraft that will be inspected throughout the year. And so if an inspection is due and there's a finding and we need to do a repair, then we already need to have a backup aircraft that we can send here right away to support the customers.
I've got a question for you about the inspection and keeping planes, safe, ready to go, available, all that. What is that balance? And I do want to ask a very specific version of that, because I had a very interesting conversation with someone on the show about safety in just the regular workplace. So, protecting people's heads, fingers, toes, that kind of safety.
Yeah.
And one of the things was there was an error in regulation at one point, because what would end up happening is they were focused on making sure nobody got a scratch. And so because they were spending so much time over here, it ended up essentially, it was a little bit complicated how he explained it. He did a much better job than me. But it ended up, they were actually missing sort of major issues because there was too much reporting and things going on with the little things. It didn't get your overall, like, safe, get home safe, which is the actual objective. how does it work in aviation? Because it is very regulated, costs a lot of money to keep planes in the air. What is that line, in your opinion?
Well, basically, it's not subject to MPRO. There's a regulation in relate to security. It's called the Safety Management System. It's a Canadian regulation that's been in place for over 20 years now, and basically, it's a system that is proactive and reactive in the sense that employees can report issues that they had while they were flying the aircraft or doing the maintenance of the aircraft, and we have a department that will receive all those reports. We receive about close to 1,000 reports per year. And for each report, they will do a risk assessment, meaning, is this problem really important? Do we have to address it right away? Can we address it at the next inspection, and so on? And all those information are within a data bank. And so every time we have an issue, we also look if it's something that has happened in the past, and we're able to see if there's any trend. Now, there's also part of that team that will do investigation and trying to find solution. Could be training, could be a new equipment, and all that regulation has been in place at Nolinor for the last 20 years. Actually, Nolinor Aviation has been the first airline to be fully certified by Transport Canada way back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and since then we have improved that system over the years. About 2 years ago, we worked with the R&D research center in Montreal called MILA. That is a R&D center specialized in artificial intelligence, and we integrated 2 AI into the system to not only speed the process, but being able to go through all those back issues. To give you an example, our database has close to 12,000 reports over the last 20 years. So the more reports we get, the more knowledge we get about those issues, and we have more data also on the solution that's been put in place, and see if those solutions did solve the issue or not. So it's a fairly interesting department at Nolinor Aviation. Every time we have customer visiting our installation, they're surprised to learn that we have that type of department in-house and that we do that type of work. So.
Do you ever see in aviation, your department, these reports? There's talk when you talk about AI in the medical field. There's talks that I go to the doctor, rather than a doctor talking to some colleagues, doing a little bit of research, they will, a doctor or a specialist, or whoever you're going to see, they could essentially feed it into a system and get a whole diagnosis, a global diagnosis that could just be insanely accurate. Do you think there's anything, I know it's not tomorrow, but do you think 10 years from now we could be seeing something like that in aviation, going, oh, this is exactly when the maintenance should be done. This issue happened with this plane over in Korea. Is that even a possibility, do you think?
I think it is a possibility. AI is a very interesting topic when you come to an industry where there's a lot of regulation, because it's easier to follow the process and see which step of the process was not accurate or not followed, and so on. So aviation is actually the best type of business to integrate those type of services. And the SMS system that we have right now is capable of actually giving recommendation and link to an event. So yeah, it's fairly cool.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. How much did that streamline your process, integrating the AI into your database?
Well, it did change the way we work. Actually, the employee also find it easier to report. So we actually get more report because they find it easier. So having the system in place make it easier to go through all those reports, trying to find exactly which one are really important. And yeah, it gives more time for the team to do investigation that we had in the past. So yeah, it's a plus on each side. So
we could probably do a full episode just on AI and aviation. So I want to move on to you have I believe I have a note here. I don't know if it's a partnership or if it's your company. I actually wasn't sure on but it's I don't even know if I'm saying it right. The Nautilus Kona.
Yeah. Well, Nautilus is a manufacturer that is based in San Diego. They were reaching out to us for the last 2-3 years. They are working on a new design of an aircraft. It's a one-wing model. And basically, I think the biggest component for us It's a small cargo aircraft that can land on gravel. And so at first, a turboprop aircraft is not something that we were looking into, but we decided to visit them, meet with them, and better understand their design. And we saw that this type of aircraft, when it will enter the market, could create another revenue stream for us, meaning that it can land on a runway that is only 2,600 feet, I think. The fuel consumption is about 30% less than other similar cargo aircraft, and it has more range. So, meaning that we can fuel, for example, let's say in Yellowknife, go to a mining destination, mining project, and come back without having to fuel at the end of that run. So, for us, time saving, fuel consumption saving, and cost saving for the customer. So right now they are still in the development and design of that project. We hope that in the next few years it's going to become available, and we decide to partnership with them to tell them exactly what we needed for the northern operation. And so far it's been doing great.
So is this an active aircraft?
No, it's an aircraft that is under design right now.
Right. Okay.
We saw a life-size mock-up of the concept aircraft. Most of the components on that project are already on the existing, meaning the engines are my same type of engine and prop that you have on a Beech 1900. The avionics suite is also known. So it's really a one-bladed wing body aircraft. That's the main innovation in that design, but all the other components already exist. So it makes it easier to come to reality, I think so.
For a company like that, I mean, obviously, not your company, you're not going to get into the weeds on it too much, but I am curious. I mean, what is the challenge for them? I mean, you said they've been reaching out for a couple of years. That must be a big challenge to say, hey, we've got a new aircraft to the market. I mean, that must be.
Every manufacturer who builds aircraft will tell you that bringing a new design on the market is a very financial, important, colossal project. And I mean, so far, I was a bit skeptical at first when I first met them. I had many questions, and Alexi, who's in charge over there, the CEO, was able to answer those questions fairly quickly. And so we started to build confidence into that project, and we decided to reserve a few copies for when it do come into production. So.
What is the alternative to this aircraft if you need a smaller unit to land on gravel? Or do you just have to use a big one?
Right now, you could use a turboprop aircraft, but you would have to do like more flights to carry the same type of payload. We're talking about 3.8 metric ton of payloads. That's not too bad, and the operation cost would be higher also. So for us, we see it more like a complement type of aircraft that we can have to the runs that we already have.
Right.
So there are smaller communities that would like to have cargo that we can supply. Right now, when they do call us, the 727-200 is like an overkill for their needs.
Yeah.
So having a smaller plane could create another market for us. So.
We did discuss it at length on the last show because I was so much new to me that I really dove into it. So I won't put you through it again. But I do want what separates a plane that can land on a gravel, snow runway as opposed to just your standard runway? What are the components that make up?
First of all, if you look at Boeing, it's a Boeing certification, meaning that in the 60s, they did a R&D project that they invest a lot of money. They like to joke that it would have been less costly to pave the runway up north in Canada than to do that R&D project. But at the end of the day, they changed some of the fuselage part in regards to the main landing gears. And also, there's a deflector that goes on the main nose wheel. And we also have a vortex dissipator at the bottom of each engine. So the intake of those engines are smaller than regular, let's say 400 or a max 8. And so there's a compressed air that is pushed through that vortex dissipator, make it harder to have gravel being injected by the engine. So and all that is packaged within a certification. So not all the 200s on the market to have that certification, it has to be built onto the aircraft. So.
Oh, I see. And so this new Kona, it would do that as well, right? It's this
Well, the
different design
Kona,
though.
yeah, the Kona design is a very different set of problem. It's not a jet aircraft, so you don't have that big
I see.
intake in the front of the engine, and the engine on the Kona are situated on the back of the aircraft, and so a turboprop would be fairly less impact, I think, from the design. So yeah, it could be interesting. There's going to be some challenges for sure, but it's interesting in that way.
I wanted to ask you, you sometimes see in the movies that the pilot goes to fly out and then they realize the runway is too short and all that sort of stuff. But that actually does happen. Like people do design the runway wrong for what their application is needed.
Yeah, well, basically, right now, if you have a mining project coming up, the typical process that they do is that they will go up to a consultant and try to figure out exactly how long the runway needs to be. And as you know, in the real world, there are good consultants and there are those who will improvise and spit out, I think, bad information.
I've
So
never heard it described as there's consultants that will improvise.
I've met many in the past. So we were give you an example. We met recently with a mining project, and the recommendation that they got was that the minimum length of a runway needed for a gravel runway was close to 7,000 feet. And I mean, we only need 5,000. So just there, you see that the cost to create a runway of that length compared to the real need can be quite important. So I think it's important for a mining project to get many consultants or ask many questions and validate the information they get back before starting investing. Same thing, I recently met folks that were talking about paving a runway up north without knowing the impact of permafrost. Up north in Nunavut, the ground is permafrost. It's a mix of dirt and ice, and that is is moving through time. So paving a runway up north, not only is it costly to move all the required stuff to do it, but the maintenance of that runway will be quite difficult over time. And there's a few paved runway up north, and you can see every time they redo those runway, the costs are very important, costing millions and millions of dollars. So talking about a mining project that it's going to be there for maybe 20, 30 years, what you want is a solution that will make it easier when it's time to close down the project, to close and remove that runway fairly quickly. And on that end, a gravel runway is the easiest solution on the market for sure.
So in those gravel runways, though, they are having to resurface is not the right word, but every year they basically have to. Well, I don't know what the word is for it, but
Well, they're maintained, I would say, on a weekly basis, meaning that
yeah.
you will have either a grader or another type of equipment that will just roll over them and try to remove the different imbalance that is on the runway. And it's a fairly straightforward project. You don't need to de-ice them. You don't need to how can I say this? Put some de-icing fluid on them. So it's a fairly straightforward process, and it is the easiest to maintain for sure.
Have you ever been, has Nolinor ever been brought in as consultants on these types of projects, and development?
Yes and no. So what we did about 2 years ago, instead of always having to answer the question of our customers, we decided to start a new agency called Cyrus Intelligence, and it's a expert consulting firm where people looking into doing a fly-in fly-out project or actually managing an airport up north or having to train personnel or replace personnel. For give you an example, if you have somebody in charge of a radio tower that needs to go on vacation, who are you going to replace them with? So that's the type of service that this agency has been doing over the last 2 years, and it's a great success so far.
Yeah, and again, that's just you following the customer, going there's a need for this because you can't have two people doing the same job at these sites all the time.
That's right.
Okay, so I wanted to. There's something else I wanted to get to. Oh, finding pilots, kind of needed if you're going to fly planes. So A couple years ago, we talked. You had a great program getting people in. How has that gone? Is the industry still in demand? Where are things at?
All right. So coming up to the pandemic, I'm sure you saw many flight being canceled
Mm.
and airline having issues in the airport. We all saw the videos and everything. So, and part of that problem was related to new regulation that came into force in Canada in relation to duty time and fatigue. And overnight, all the airlines needed between 25 to 35 more percent more pilots to supply the same routes. And we had the same issue at Nolinor Aviation. So we created a few years ago what like you said, the Become a Pilot program. So far, I think we are close to 22 employees that went into that program, where we pay 100% of all the costs for them to get their commercial license, and we have invested close to $1 million so far, and it's been a great project. I mean, these folks stay with us for a couple of years once they get their license, and it has giving us a chance to reduce our turnover rate of pilots that was close to 60% down to 8%. So I cannot imagine a better way of doing it and managing that issue for sure.
When you're training pilots, like what is the background for people that need to get into that field? Like, is there an age of entry, health, a pre-test that you do? What is the actual process? If someone's hearing this and goes, "Well, I want to fly."
Yeah. Well, the way it works is that every employee of Nolinor Aviation has been with us for over a year. If they have a recommendation letter from their manager, they can apply on the program. And what that means is that once they apply, they will go through different exams that are being given by a third party. It's not an in-house process. And they will tell us exactly, let's say we have, on average, we have between 15 to 20 people applying on the program. And they will give us a top 4 or top 5. And from there, we will decide how many people we want to add on a program depending on our need and the need of our customers. And from there, they will go and do a medical exam. And if everything is good, then they will start to do the flying and the training. It takes about 2 years. So at the bottom, the first step I would say is you need to have a passion for it, because if you're not patient, 2 years to get your license can be a long process for some people. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
you need to be passionate. So
Yeah, but it's being covered, and but people have families, and it's quite that's quite a it's a huge amount of support to be able to give someone the sort of that opportunity in their career. Before I wrap up the interview, I did want to ask, because the company is growing. It's always something always interesting when we have a guest back on the show, because then you kind of start to be able to follow their story. We've had it many times in the company, and it becomes more and more fun doing the interviews for me, because you start to kind of peel back these layers. I asked you what the biggest challenge was in growing the company. Now I want to ask the reverse. What is your biggest strengths? Because, I have mine in management that I just, and I have to like kind of double and triple down on them all the time, because if I start chasing all my weaknesses, well, you could spend a lot of time doing that and you might never get as good at the weakness as the person who that's their strength. So it's almost better to pair with someone who has that. What do you bring to the table that you say, this is my strength, this is part of my contribution to the success of the company?
I think the team core strength is being able to adjust to about anything. So we have one of our value is nickname new problem equal new solution. So every time there's a new problem, instead of wasting a lot of negative energy or being idle, we switch right away to solution mode, and we're trying to find new ways of doing things. And I mean, going into the pandemic, that saved us. And every time there's a new change of regulation or something happening in the geopolitical landscape, we're able to adjust. We're able to find new ways, and that's what we're known for. That's what our customer like about us. And I think that's our core strength, and that's what is going to keep us growing over the next few years for sure.
Now, does that translate to one of your core strengths? Do you like change? Do you like problems? Do they throw you off, or do you sort of like
some people? Myself?
Like some people have, when problems come at them, they have to like really kind of power through it. some people they like the challenge, right? It's just a personality thing. Where do you sort of land as those challenges come at you?
I guess if somebody from the office would be here today would say that I have too many ideas. So
Oh,
every time there's something's happening, I'm always thinking about new ways of doing things. I'm looking into other markets, see what they do, and see
right.
what we can bring into our market. So yeah, I think it's a core value that fits with me, and it is within my DNA for sure.
Yeah, it's such an interesting because you'll see some companies. I can't even think of one off the top of my head. Like chemical companies, what actually came to my head first is like the leaders of those companies. You need to be. It's all about consistency, like conservative management, and the market is sort of the market. Maybe that's a bad example. So sort of any of our
Oh,
chemical clients, but there's just a certain type of person that if they're always looking at field, it's not really what is needed in the leadership. But in your business, you're literally taking people to remote places. So I would think you'd kind of need to be able to have that adaptable mindset, or it would become a very stressful job very quickly, I would imagine.
well, aviation is a very fast paving industry. It moves all the time. If you need to be a bit crazy to stay in that market, because there's so much regulation. You're impacted by anything. You know, if price of fuel goes up, you have an impact. If there's a new regulation, you have an impact. If the stock market is down, your customer are not doing so great. Some of them are doing better. It depends.
Yeah.
So every time the weather impact you, so every time something's happening in the world, it most of the time has a direct or indirect link with aviation.
Interesting.
Give you a last one piece. You know, when the war in Ukraine started, you say, what's the link with aviation? Well, you know, there was some measure that would put on Russia, and that increased indirectly the cost of insurance. So that's not something that you plan in advance. So you need to be able to adjust to all those change, and I think it's core.
It's so great to have you back on the show, Marco. It just you're definitely one of those people. I feel like I'm hoping I'm doing justice to what your company does, because it's you're literally getting places to all the companies we feature. You're one of the companies that's getting people to all these places, getting the technology there, connecting all the engineers that are going out to these different sites. It's actually it's a real service you're doing to the mining industry, and growing the company. It's always fun to see a company that's expanding.
Yep.
So really good to have you on the show. I hope we do it again. You know, next time there's some updates that you have. I hope we're a part of it, because I really do appreciate it.
Thanks for your time, and we never know. Next time will be another base, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe we should do one on a plane. We'll do one in the cargo hold one day.
That could be fun.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
And thank you everybody for watching. Of course, we'll have links to Nolinor in the description. Follow them on LinkedIn. They've got a very strong social media. I remember that from the last episode. If there's a social media platform, we'll put the link, and then you can go follow them. They're a great company to follow. Thank you for following us. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe, and we will see you on the next episode of Mining Now.